welcome to another episode of Freshly Squeezed. I'm your host, Darcy, and I'm joined today by Kristina Grimm, the founder and owner of Thrive Local, a curated shop of local makers, artists, and designers. So, Kristina, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Definitely. So, Kristina, are you a Florida native or are you a transplant like I am?
I am a transplant, so I'm originally from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh.
So yeah, moved here about 8 years ago.
Okay, so you love the Space Coast, obviously, just like I do.
I do. It feels like home here, so I love it.
So tell us, how did you first come up with this concept and create this amazing store?
Yeah, so it kind of goes way back a little bit. So I kind of started as an entrepreneur. So I did graphic design and I also designed wedding invitations back in Texas. And I kind of wanted to grow into the stationery side, retail side, and kind of realized, wow, that's like a big step and a lot out of reach. So I kind of had this idea come to me when I would see wedding industry professionals collaborate and have co-working spaces together. So I kind of thought, like, why can't we have that for like local makers? And and I also wanted to shop local, but there was no, I didn't know where to. So so kind of years went by, and I just still had this idea. And then I moved here. And I didn't really want to start over in the wedding industry.
Yes, starting over is hard.
It is. So I really wanted to focus on the retail side, and luckily I met some other women in the community who had their own businesses, some boutique owners as well. So I kind of just was like, let's kind of take this concept and just do it in my house. So I invited other women-owned businesses to my house. We invited our friends, neighbors, anybody who knew us to come to these like in-home shopping experiences. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the small business owners were thanking me, but then our neighbors and friends were thanking me for hosting things like this. So I'm like, okay, like the community needs this. This is like the best area for this. So I picked up the phone one day and called, the town center, and
oh my gosh,
yeah,
you're like, let's do this, create an actual store.
Absolutely. I was like, we need this. We need it. The community wants this. Small business owners need this space. So yeah, I just went for it.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's huge to take something from idea, from conception to creation, to actually doing it.
It was hard. It took several years, but it went really great. I wanted to give a space for small business owners to really just be able to focus on what they do best in making products.
So how do you choose who gets to be here? There's so many around, and I mean, you have a lot here, but I'm sure the process is daunting.
It can be. The Space Coast is so great because we're just filled with so many local creative makers and business owners here. I do look for a variety of different factors. I want to make sure it's a good fit for not just us, but for the local business owner as well, because I just, I want to set them up for success. So we do have an application process. The very beginning, it was me, cold calling people.
Hey,
like,
you want to come?
You don't know me, but about to open this store. We try to keep a little bit of variety here. We don't want anybody too similar. We don't want to create a competition feeling. So we're very much so about collaboration. So
that's amazing, because I do that. I see there's a good amount of, there's clothing, candles, we've got plants and flowers, jewelry. So there's a little bit of everything. It's a perfect place to come for gifts. I was telling Kristina that I love to just gift all the local artists and things to family members, and it just gives them exposure, but it's also something so unique to have too.
Exactly. And a lot of, we get a lot of visitors here on the Space Coast, so they want to take a little piece of Florida, or the Space Coast back home, or, we have people find gifts here and they ship them, overseas. So it is a great spot.
Oh, for sure. Well, I'm actually, if you can see, I'm wearing a local artist too. This is by Salty Rays, Kristina, who actually has been in here before. She's a partner. She does pop-ups. You can find her at all of the markets, and she makes these beautiful statement coastal jewelry pieces. So look for Salty Rays. So, do you have any advice for designers who want to get in here? Maybe they've applied and it just wasn't the right time, or maybe they just haven't figured out how to go from market to being in a
Right.
location like this.
No, that's a great question because it is very different than hosting a market. It's retail, which a lot of small businesses do not have experience in, and it's just a different setting than a market is. So you have to think about display. It's very different than when you set up at a market. But I would just say, make sure you have a strong, product, well thought out product. Pricing is right. Pricing is everything. You want to make sure, you're not just pricing, what you do at the markets, because retail is very different.
That's a good point.
But yeah, like apply to us. And if it's not a good fit, then we have pop-up opportunities, which I always tell people if they're just starting out, it's a great starting point because then they can, communicate directly to our customers and get feedback right there on the spot, see what people are drawn to, see what kind of questions people are asking as well. So the pop-up shops are a great starting point if they're not quite ready for in-store.
The full in-store experience.
Yeah.
Well, that's really amazing that you give opportunities to people that aren't in, because I know you have a lot of classes and workshops and markets, and there's always some event going on. So tell us a little bit about that. What do you offer regularly, and what do you have coming up for Easter and Mother's Day?
We've got some great classes coming up for Mother's Day and Easter. Like you said, we host workshops and classes here. So our in-store partners or other makers outside of our store come in, host a class. So some of the ones we have coming up are an Easter candle making workshop. We also have a charcuterie workshop coming up as well.
Tasty.
And then another one we are going to, a journaling one is coming up as well. So we have quite a few this spring, and we're always adding new ones as well. We also do pop-up markets. So here in Eau Gallie Arts District, we have First Friday nights, and then we also do a third Sunday sidewalk stroll. So we have makers outside on the sidewalk with their products. So it's kind of this,
so even people that aren't in the store doing those, you'll have different ones on the sidewalk.
So
that's a great opportunity.
So it's a great opportunity to discover even more local businesses. So, and then we've also been partnering with other local businesses such as Urban Prime, and then the Venezia Wine Bar, where we actually have a few pop-up markets scheduled with them over the next 2 months. So
you can get wine and shop.
Wine, mimosas, and shop. So it's a great setting. And again, it's just a great opportunity to get the community to gather together and support local.
I love it so much because this show, Freshly Squeezed, my idea for doing it was to showcase local businesses, artists, just all the cool things happening on our Space Coast. So to have someone like Kristina that's got the actual store of Thriving Local is amazing. So congratulations. How did you come up with the name?
That's great. I have to kind of give credit to my husband on that one. I really didn't have a name. So when I called the town center, I was like, hey, I have this idea. It was okay, let's open in 3 months. So I really had to buckle down and figure this out. And I didn't have a name, but in my business plan, I kept writing, our mission is to thrive locally, to give the local makers a chance to thrive local. It would just kept popping up in the business plan. So my husband was like, why don't you just name it Thrive Local?
He's like, it's already here.
Actually, that's pretty good. So that's how the name came about.
Well, good job, husband. Have you had any challenges just being a small business owner, an entrepreneur? I mean, I'm an entrepreneur myself, and it's tough, and especially to have a brick and mortar location like this.
Yeah, it's very challenging. Just starting out, because you kind of you don't know. You have to kind of figure it out as you go. And I just made sure I asked questions. Hey, I was honest. Hey, I'm new at this. I don't know. Can you please help me? Whether it was through port insurance or getting the right licensing and permitting, through the city. And then it's the funding is hard too. So we pretty much
a minor problem,
right? Access to funding as a small business owner is not easy. So and then too, the way the economy's been the past couple years, I feel like almost sustaining has been a little bit more challenging than starting. Starting is kind of like the easy.
Starting's like
it's the easy
exciting and you
part.
get
Yeah.
the idea, but sustaining, that's a
Yes.
good word. So, but asking questions is key. That's
Yes.
good advice, not being afraid to.
Asking questions, getting the support from your community, and there's people there to support you. So, ask them for help, and just partner. Or I feel like our partnerships is what
That's
makes
what
us
makes
stronger.
it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
For sure. Well, collaborations like this are
Yes,
amazing. You'll probably be
absolutely.
seeing Freshly Squeezed at pop-up markets and promoting and showcasing other artists and vendors that you will also find here at Thrive Local. Pulp or no pulp?
No pulp.
Aha. All right. Then this one is for you.
Thank you.
You're like my husband. I like the pulp, but he's very much, he cannot
pulp.
have pulp.
Yep.
So cheers, some fresh
Cheers.
squeezed orange juice, which is always fun to have on the show.
Thank you.
All right. So first thing that comes to mind. So last item you cooked.
Sweet chicken tacos.
Ooh, tasty. Last time you were surprised.
Oh.
Maybe
That's a
me
good
asking
one.
this question.
Yeah, there you go. 2 seconds
Well,
ago.
we'll take that one. Okay, favorite local food.
There's so many good ones. I'm really loving the sushi at Urban Prime. That's kind of been my jam lately.
Okay.
Another good one is we're here in the Arts District,
Mhm.
FM Pizza. If you haven't had the pizza,
I haven't, and I love pizza,
Yes.
so I need to try that.
really good.
Okay. I wouldn't know what to say to that answer either,
I-
so good job.
there's
That's
so
putting
many.
you on the
I
spot.
like to eat, so that's a hard one.
Me too. Okay, last favorite local spot for a date night with your husband.
We do like to go to pineapples.
Ooh, with the great view on the
Yes,
rooftop and everything. Okay, oranges or strawberries?
Strawberry.
Besides orange juice, right?
Right.
Okay, favorite exercise?
Ooh, actually, lifting weights. I love to lift weights.
That's good.
I
Can you
know.
teach me? Because I know that I need to learn, but I get overwhelmed. Like, the gym is daunting to me in
It
the
is.
weightlifting area.
Right. So I do it in home.
Hmm.
I have the in home, and stuff.
Well, you look fabulous, so I
thank
can
you,
tell.
thank
I
you.
need to learn from you. Okay, so talking about some of the vendors in here, plants, if you wanted to get local plants.
Yes, we have Maggie's greenhouse right here in the store. She has a great variety of plants.
Okay.
So yeah,
Maggie's. Okay,
Maggie's
and
greenhouse.
Jewelry.
Ooh,
There's probably so many.
there's so many. And here at O'Galley, we've got Earth Tones jewelry. So people really love. Like it's like almost like jewel and stone inspired gold jewelry.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And clothing. I know you're wearing. an
Yeah,
outfit from
I
Top from
always
here.
wear. So this is from right here, Moody Trends.
Ooh.
I always shop here.
Well, I am going to be as well. So thanks so much for taking the time,
Yes,
Kristina.
thank
You can
you.
find out everything about Thrive Local on their website and social media. And we hope to see you at one of their events very soon.
Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers.